Hello everybody, Fantasticairy here, back with another video. Last week's video we did the full illustration, and this week I just wanted to share with you the pages in my sketchbook that I got around to painting. To fill that other side, I stuck to painting some snail shells. It was actually really fun experimenting with the colors and the technique to create these washed out, almost conceptual looking shells. It was a lot of fun to mix the colors together to see what results you would get after it dries. Some colors dry a little bit lighter when they're dry. I'm definitely gonna redo a page with a bunch of snail shells for you guys, so stay tuned for that. I think my favorite of the shells that I did was the biggest one at the bottom in the middle. The colors turned out really well, as well as the contrast and kind of the stylized look I was going for. And here's the full spread. The illustration from last week, and then some snail shells. On to the next page. For this page, I actually got around to painting some birds, some crows, and some owls. The crows, they turned out okay. Very stylized, and I just kind of went loose with the brush techniques, leaving white space and kind of experimenting with the white and the colors. And then of course some owls, because why not? I decided to continue that theme for this video. I might even fill the other side with just little owls. It was a lot of fun, and they have so much expression in their eyes, and they're so cute, especially if you Google cute little owls. Recommend doing that. Alright, on to the process part of this video. I started with very light tannish brown color. I just wanted to block in the silhouette of the shape of the owl I was painting. I was following a reference picture, but deviated from it with color and a different kind of look for this owl. But I just wanted to make sure that I had the anatomy correct. So I fill in the lighter parts, and then I'm gonna leave some white gaps just to keep that stylistic look that I wanted. And then going in afterwards with some darker paint, more saturated, to start defining the details a little bit more. And as I go along, the painting kind of comes together. It's really fun. The feathers are really interesting to paint. I wouldn't say that I've captured it very well. I wasn't going for realistic, more stylistic, so I'm definitely going to experiment with painting feathers in the future and seeing how I can recreate it in a stylized way, but still believable to the viewer's eye. And of course the eyes. I wanted the eyes to be the main focus of this little guy. I went for a really bright, saturated orange, making sure I had the circles complete. And then taking that same orange-yellow color and adding it into the feathers as well, making sure the palette of this little owl flows well into the rest of his little features. And then defining the details a little bit more by adding in some darker, contrasted areas. Feathers of an owl are very complicated. Well, actually in every bird they're very complicated. So kind of taking that reference and simplifying it to suit the style that you're going for is really a fun experiment to play around with. And of course, accepting the process and trusting it into the end and just learning as you go. I really liked the features of the eyebrows of the other owls that I painted, and I decided to incorporate that into this little guy. I know feathers aren't furry, but I did want to add a little bit of fluff to this guy to add to the cuteness. And here I am just taking that artistic privilege to kind of recreate the feather pattern in a more simplified way. I kept this painting very loose, as I wasn't going to be going for a super realistic owl painting. The feet later I define a little bit more and kind of hide in some moss. I wasn't really too focused on them, as I wanted the focus to be more on the facial expression of this owl, which isn't really an expression, but I just wanted to focus on his eyes, like I said previously. And a great way to draw the focus is to add a contrast against the light colors. It really helps the painting pop. Adding in those fluffy, furrier details just around his eyebrows, I'd like to say his eyebrows, and kind of his cheeks, and at the top. And then of course we can't forget the pupils. They're very important. I just was very careful with my main black color in my palette. I left a little bit of a lighter highlight in there that I would go over with after with a white gel pen. Using my #1 round brush and being very careful to keep within the circle. It was a little tricky, but I managed to not mess it up. Usually in these critical moments, it's when you make the biggest mistakes, so it's best to stay on your toes, but also not to be too stiff in your brush strokes. Adding in a little bit more contrast to the fur around the eyes, and the little owl is coming together. And here I am adding in that kind of mossy ground area for the owl, as I talked about earlier, just so that he's not floating in the air or standing in the air on the page. Grounding him to the sketchbook page. I stuck with a more olive-y color and I mixed it with the same brown that I was using for the owl to keep that palette nice and flowing through the whole illustration, and of course adding little blades of grass to complete the ground. I kept it very simple. And here's the final result of our little cute owl. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name this guy. Comment below what you think his name should be. I really like how the face turned out. It's super cute. I am glad that I decided to add the darker black around his face, and I kept the lighter areas light and didn't go too crazy with detail. And leaving in those white areas and the feathers too really helps with the overall look and style I was going for. It was lots of fun to make this little guy. I definitely recommend painting birds. They're a lot of fun, especially owls and all their expressions, and they got a lot of character to them. Well, that concludes this week's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed watching this, please like and subscribe for more. And videos are uploaded every Friday. You can purchase my art on imprint at my imprint shop. Link in the description below, as well as all my social media. You can find me down there. I hope you guys are having a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world. I will see you next week with another video. And yeah, this is where I say bye-bye.